Now, earlier this year, we've seen the launch of some fancy big new electric SUVs like the Polestar 3, the Kia EV9, and the Volvo EX30. But today, here in New York, at its North American debut, we're checking out something a little bit smaller. And Volvo's actually getting a little cheeky with this reveal because it's, as you can see, it's called the small reveal. And that's because we're here checking out the Volvo EX30. Now, the EX30 is the smallest brother to the EX90. And as someone who lives in the city and is always looking for a compact car that's easy to park, but can still carry a lot of stuff, this car looks like a really interesting option because you get a great design, some really interesting premium features, and of course, a very affordable price. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's get some of the basics out of the way first. The EX30 is going to start at around $35,000, which is an incredible price considering that the average price of a modern electric car is around $60,000, so almost half that. On top of that, that makes it the cheapest Volvo, both gas or electric, and this is also what Volvo is calling the first premium electric compact SUV, so it's really kind of in a class of its own. Now, the EX30 is going to be available in a couple configs. Now, there's the standard model, which is a single motor variant with a rear-wheel drive, and that's going to come with a 51 kilowatt-hour battery, and you're going to get about 275 miles of range. However, for those who want to go a little faster, there is a dual motor all-wheel drive variant, and that's going to have some pretty incredible performance. We're talking a 0 to 60 time of around 3.4 seconds. That's a pretty incredible speed for something this compact, because not only is that the fastest Volvo ever, it also beats out rivals like the Tesla Model Y Performance. So we're talking about really good speeds in a very compact car. Now, in terms of design, you'll see a lot of similarities between this and its bigger brother, the EX90. So of course, just like on the EX90, you get that signature Thor's hammer headlight, and you even get that really interesting pixelated look that kind of brings a little modern vibe to the whole design. In terms of general size, we're talking about something that's very similar to the Chevy Bolt, except this thing is actually a few inches lower. So I'm 6 feet tall, and I'm actually looking down on the roof of the car, and so even though it is an SUV, it's not quite as large as you might imagine. Now, if we move around back, you can see, once again, very similar headlight situation to the EX90. You get those really interesting vertical headlights, and obviously a very modern design. You also get an interesting two-tone design with that blacked out roof, though you can get it in body color as well. But by blacking out the roof, you do kind of make the car look a little bit more compact and a little bit more sporty, which is always a good thing. Now, if you move over to the boot, we can press it and open it just like that. And obviously, this is a compact SUV, so you're not talking about a ton of space here, though Volvo has made a level load shelf, so it's easier to get things in and out. But if you need more room, you can lift it up, and there's more room inside, and you can also pull it forward and then shift it down, and suddenly, more boot. Awesome. Now, if you ever have any questions about what may or may not fit inside the back of the EX30, Volvo has come up with a really handy will it fit diagram right on this back lid right here, and it shows all these dimensions on top of everyday things that you might want to put inside, like a stroller, golf clubs, luggage, what have you. Nice little touch to general usability. Now, if we move around to the side, we got the charge port right here. And while the EX30 doesn't have the fastest charging on the market, you get about 153 kilowatt DC fast charging. Charging speeds are actually okay. You can go from about 10% to 80% in around 27 minutes. So a little bit longer than your average fill-up, but hey, if you want to pull over, grab a cup of coffee or whatever, you'll be on your way relatively soon. And then finally on the outside, we have these 18-inch alloy wheels, which come standard, and you can see they have a really interesting two-tone design, kind of similar to the roof, and I think they look great, and they should also help boost that aerodynamicness just a little bit, which of course on EVs is always very important. So now we're inside the Volvo EX30, and as you can see, Volvo is doing their standard, very minimalist, very simple Scandinavian design. They're relying a lot on recycled and sustainable materials, and you can see that throughout the car. Now, one interesting design feature is the recycled textures that they use on parts of the door and the dash, which reminds me of something like you might find on a mat in a gym, except it's done in a much more adult and sophisticated way. Dominating the center here is a 12.3-inch touchscreen that's based on Android Automotive. It's very simple, very easy to use. That said, I almost feel like it should be a little bit bigger, and it even looks like it might come off, but obviously that wouldn't be very safe, so it's firmly attached to the dashboard. Now, one thing you won't find is an instrument panel for the driver. That's because everything happens on this main 12.3-inch screen. Some people might find that a little bit annoying, but Volvo says they've moved the position of the screen a little bit higher so that if you're looking out to the road, you can still see very important information like your drive setting, range, and stuff like that. Meanwhile, at the base of the windshield, Volvo is using a big soundbar that spans the width of the car instead of using individual speakers and woofers, which helps simplify the interior design even more. Now, one other thing to note is that while this is Android Automotive, Volvo knows that especially in North America, a lot of its drivers use iPhones. So this is going to be the first car from Volvo that supports wireless Apple CarPlay in addition to Android Auto and being based on Android Automotive. So no matter what kind of phone you have, you're going to work just fine. As far as Android Automotive goes, this is very easy to use. You see a big blocky buttons and a very simple interface that's super easy to use. You have your home button down here and you can go through apps, volume, climate control, what have you. So one interesting thing is that there's all these various ambient light settings like northern lights, and they even come with their own sound effects. Now we can't change them in here because this is the demo car, but they were available on some tablets outside that mimic the Android Automotive system that you get in the car, and we're able to see some of these various colors and setups. One other interesting design cue is that Volvo has put a lot of the controls of the car down the center of the vehicle, and that makes them really easy to reach. So for example, we have the glove box we can just open right here. And then down here where you see this little card, we have built-in wireless chargers for your phones for both the driver and the passenger side. And there's some neat little hidden storage down here, some USB-C ports, always really nice to have. And there's even more hidden storage right here. You slide out and you have your cup holders, and you can even choose how far that protrudes just by pushing it back to where you want it. Now, if we come to the back seats, you can see even in the back, the window controls are in the center next to some more USB-C ports. Awesome, love to see that. And there's even a removable storage tray for kids. Volvo says you can even put this in the dishwasher, so it's super easy to clean. And as a nod towards their Scandinavian heritage, there's a little moose icon right here, which is kind of cute. Now, obviously, this is a compact SUV, so it is a little bit tight. So even though it is a smaller SUV, there should be still a decent amount of room to fit all sorts of family essentials like water bottles, extra tablets, what have you. Now, one last thing about the EX30's interior design. Unfortunately, they were only able to bring one car to its North American debut. Hey, shipping cars around the world is kind of expensive. Volvo was able to give us a taste of some of the other color options that are available in the EX30. And they're based around what Volvo is calling runes, which is basically different colorways. Now, right here, we're looking at the pine option, which is kind of a sagey green color theme. But there are also 3 other options, including mist, breeze, and indigo. And of course, it wouldn't be a Volvo without a big focus on safety features. So you do get stuff like Volvo's Pilot Assist as a standard inclusion. And even though it doesn't have interior radars like its bigger sibling, the EX90, you do get a rear passenger detection system to make sure you don't forget about any children or pets in the back seat. That's a really nice added benefit. So all in all, the EX30 seems like a really promising new car. Not only is it very affordable, starting at around $35,000, it also has a really good blend of premium features and a really engaging design. On top of that, for those who want a bit more ruggedness, Volvo has even promised that there will be a cross-country version of the EX30 with features like knobby tires and a roof rack and a couple other things. That said, if you want that speedier dual-motor all-wheel drive version, you are going to have to pay for it. That's because while there isn't official US pricing for that model just yet, if you go and look over at the UK site, that model is currently listed for about £41,000, which translates to about 52,000 US dollars. So you are going to be paying significantly more than that $35,000 base price. Still, if you're looking for a compact but still very well equipped electric SUV, the Volvo EX30 has to have suddenly jumped to the top of your list when it's due out sometime in 2024. But tell me what you think. Is the EX30 your style, or are you still waiting for more compact electric vehicles in the future, like the Mini Aceman? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Engadget for more news, reviews, videos, and hands-ons.